All right, we should be live. What's up with that massive gap on FTX? Did they stop trading for a little bit? The hell is that? FTX was down for 12 minutes. SPY's back above the, or not yet, almost. The 200 EMA on the 5-minute. We're retesting it. Failed it the last time we tested it. Q's still waiting on that 30-minute breakout. Where was the pivot? Was it a 15-minute? The 15-minute pivot bouncing right now. So far, the bottom on Bitcoin looks like it's in. Bouncing off both VWAPs, one from the low, one from the high. Monthly VWAP. Almost the 200 EMA. Hey, Sarish. Let me actually stand my desk up. Yeah, the move's not too bad. My office is only about half set up now. I know it sounds like I'm in a cave. It's because my office is pretty much empty. I have a desk and 2 monitors and a bunch of cardboard boxes, pretty much. Should have my desk fully set up by the end of today. I haven't done the weekly watch list yet. Planning on doing that later today. Because I was moving my office yesterday, so I didn't have any working computers in the meantime. But I should have enough time to get it done today. So if you guys were looking out for that on Sunday or Monday, that'll most likely be released after stream today. So probably sometime around 5 or 6. It also shouldn't sound like a cave for too long. Once I have some more furniture in here, it will sound better. If not, I'll buy some of those soundproofing things that people put on their walls. If I have to do that, I'll do that. I don't think the curtains would help. It's because my office is on the first floor and it's right on the edge of the house. And there's nothing in this room. This is like an empty box. So I need to get some soundproofing or get some shelves and stuff. I need to go back and watch today's stream and compare it to my old streams and see how different it is. I can tell that I sound like I'm in a cave. Like I can hear it when I'm talking. I wonder how bad it comes out on the mic though. Hey, if you said, are you looking at the daily, weekly Bitcoin? The weekly's not too bad, and everybody's panicking, but the weekly is pulling back to major support. We have a lot of support here from like 44.5 to 43. We have the anchored VWAPs from the low, anchored VWAPs from the high. We have the 200 EMA, monthly VWAPs, all kinds of support down here. So it doesn't look like that bad of a sell-off just yet. The daily is obviously very, very bad. You had a massive liquidation event, stopped out a lot of people. If you're trading altcoins and you're like over 5x leverage, you're getting liquidated pretty much. If you guys were in Discord, I actually bought the dip, almost the exact bottom, on what's it called? On FTX. And I sold it on this little pump right here. So once you started to pump up and it pulled back, I got out of it for a nice little scalp. I missed the bottom by like 4 or 5%, which was pretty much from where I clicked the market button and where it filled me because it was moving so quickly. Yeah, I actually had some ugly ass curtains in here from the original owners that I bought from, and I tore them down. They were really ugly. It's all right. You guys will have to put up with it for a few days. It shouldn't be too bad. Next week we'll get it fixed. Once I have some more furniture in here, it should help. If not, like I said, I'll buy some of the soundproofing. It's gonna be a little hard to soundproof because I have double doors behind me, and then I have a window to my right, a window to my front left. There's not a whole lot of wall space. Well, I mean, there is, but there's not a lot of wall space behind me that's like echoing. It's mainly to my sides. But I'll fix it. I'll figure it out. Had a couple of nice bounces today on some stocks. Airbnb doing really well. Get a nice breakout above 162. If Airbnb can stay above like 162, break above 165-ish, where it currently is, very easily could get like 170, 178. This is very, very strong. You have a massive accumulation down here, kind of breaking out of it. So definitely keep an eye on Airbnb. Neo looked a little good this morning, kind of pulling back. What else did we have? We had our shippers running. All of our shipping companies were ripping in the morning. You can see this little morning pump right here, but they pulled back. And they do this a lot, where they like run really hard and they pull back towards like the end of the day. Some news about Bitcoin. I honestly didn't see any major news, man. Didn't see any major news. I know people are trying to relate it to like El Salvador and like what's going on in El Salvador, but I don't really see how that could send us down that much. PayPal had a really nice move today. I think if PayPal could get above this monthly VWAP very easily, going to fill the price cap. And then if we can hold above that price cap, we should be able to get like 308. We're still holding PayPal. We're up a decent amount on that so far. My biggest trade today was just that Bitcoin scalp that we had. We bought the little nuke here. 5-minute pivot called out the bottom on Bitcoin pretty much perfectly. To be honest, guys, I think like if you bought the dip on Bitcoin today,
Facebook breaking out,
if you
baby.
bought like
Let's go.
45.5 or 44.4 or like 43, like anywhere from 45 down to 43, even if we continue to go down,
Someone wake up JMA so he
that's
could
a pretty good
send
buy.
everything.
I just realized I'm muted on Discord. My bad, guys.
Oh yeah, I was about to say yeah.
I've been talking on stream. I've been muted on Discord. That was my fault. But yeah, what I was saying, guys, is if you bought the dip on Bitcoin, even if it goes down here, like long term, that's a pretty good support. Um, this could be like the start of a bear market, kind of like a little micro bear market like we saw here. But even if that happens, it could send us down to like 35, maybe 32. And then once again, long term, you buy those dips. I think it's not a very bad area. I don't see us nuking much further. We would have to see significant value being found below 45.3 to like 44, 43. Am I going to make a video on the new house? No, man, that's not my style. I'm a very private person. You guys probably won't even get pictures, to be honest. Not my style.
You probably won't even get a cup of my coffee.
Yeah, right.
With pick. Yo, we close like this. Wednesday is gonna be a promise.
I might give you guys some pictures of like my office when it's done. That's probably about it. You bought a house in Southern Cali beginning of last year and it's up a lot. Oh, I bet, dude. Real estate is going straight up. My house is already up like 40 to 50,000 from when I closed. Or not
On
when I
what?
closed. It was when I put in the offer. So about probably about a month. It's up 40 to 50K already.
No, no, we should just sell it or buy another house.
Yeah, right.
Make the quick profit. Put in the crypto market real quick.
Little double top here on SPY 5 minute. Really doesn't like the 200 EMA. 30-minute pivot on ES. The 30-minute pivots are really strong. If this pivot holds, this bottom is definitely significant. 45.15, definitely where you want to pay attention to. The Momo is kind of signaling this is a little bit of a bull trap. So we do have a little bounce here, but there's not a whole lot of momentum change. So this is a little bit of a trap. So very likely could come back down to retest the bottom. But that could give us a strong support down here. So as long as we hold that level, I definitely would be a little bullish. But then if we lose that level, we do have a couple of gaps down here on SPY. We have a gap around 450, and then we have a gap down here around 446.50. So those would be obvious targets if we did start to lose this support. Bitcoin doesn't look too bad here, honestly. We could have held on to our little scalp because we got such a good entry, but it was a very nice move. Typically, when I take trades like that and I see a very strong move in my direction very quickly, I take profit for the most part. how's like FTT and the other exchange coins doing? They typically do pretty well during massive sell-offs. Yeah, it's only down 3%. It's down a little bit from the high, but only 3% on the day. Like I always tell you guys, the exchange coins, the coins that actually have value, they do pretty well when Bitcoin nukes like that. Like how's BNB doing? BNB actually took a pretty big hit, down 15%. But compared to some of the other coins that are down 30+%, it's not too bad. How's Solana doing? Solana's another coin that has, it's a good example. Yeah, look, it's green on the day. It's up 8%. It's disgusting. Solana is a great example of a coin that has value. Like Solana actually, excuse me, is a good product, right? A good project, I should say. If you look at the weekly, Solana has hit our final target. So if you take this fib here, our final target being 150 has been hit. And the funny thing about this is we can't really extend this target. Like there's nothing for me to grab here. I can't grab any other level. But what we can do, I can go in here and grab, like say, a 2618, or I could throw in like a 3618, and we'll see where these go. Oh, sorry, I gotta make those negative because they're extensions. There we go. Okay, so the 2618 on Solana would be 209, which almost got hit already. So that would be your next major target, and then 266 would be like a very far out target. You could also do something simpler, like we could go 2, and that would show us right around 174, so that already got hit. We could also do 3, that'd be a 300% extension, and that would give us somewhere around 230. So that's kind of how you can find targets for when you're breaking an all-time high, right? Rusty said you can use PNF charts for those projections. My counts would be laughed at if I said them out loud. Yeah, you can use a lot of different like styles of, or a lot of different techniques to find targets when you're pushing an all-time high. My favorite is Fibonacci by far. Fibonacci has led to like exact numbers being hit. Like I've seen things push into like the 1618 and fail it like to the penny, right? So I really prefer to use Fibonacci. Give me a second, I'm gonna lower my desk. I don't have a standing mat yet, so my feet start hurting pretty quickly on the hardwood. I just ordered a standing mat. Hopefully it shouldn't be here pretty soon. I got one of those standing sitting desks where you can push them up and down. For Qs, let me take a look. There's two obvious extensions here, or impulses. You have like this impulse here, and you have like this impulse here. So you could grab either one of these. If you were trading more longer term, you probably would take this one. Shorter term, you would take this one. So you'd probably go like this. Oops. And that would kind of give you your targets.
Zoom looks like a beautiful bulldog.
VIX is still green on the day, up 8%. And it looks like it's trying to go higher. So a little bearish for the equities market. Look at Myrna. Myrna's up another 5%. Breaking out of this little range that we've been in. Probably going to go for the gap fill around 455. Shipping companies are trying to push back up. They all look pretty good, to be honest. Pretty nice flat top here on Apple. Looks pretty healthy.
Facebook's putting a flat top too.
Yeah, Facebook, if you guys were in Discord, J-Man and I talked about this dip here back to the 373 level. This is retesting the previous high. And that was the bottom of the day, perfectly, almost to the penny. We had that pivot come in, pushed up, broke the 200 EMA, and then just trended up all day, pretty much. Next target on that was 381, 381.50 on the pivot. We did break that pivot though, so now probably going to go to like 385, maybe 390. Netflix, disgusting breakout here. We closed our short-term shares way back here around this resistance. We're still holding our long-term stuff, so this is pretty good here. But could have made a lot more on the short-term stuff, obviously. But you're pushing an all-time high now. So if you were to grab some extension targets, it's kind of a little hard here because we've been ranging for so long. There's not a very obvious like Fibonacci level you can take. But if we take the weekly and instead of taking like an impulse, we could take the range because we're kind of in a distribution here. So you could take the range like this and that would give you some extension targets. So like 630, 643, 680, 700. So it's kind of another way you could do that. These typically won't be as accurate as taking like an impulse, but it does give you some areas to keep an eye on. Amazon getting very close to filling the price gap all the way up to 3,600. Tesla's still looking really good as well. I told you guys above 737, could get to 800 very quickly. With a little bit of resistance around like 770, once you get above that, there's really nothing in your way. So nice strong day. Hold above 737 looks pretty good. He said, do you know by chance why we get responses on fibs in both log and linear? It's almost like Bitcoin acts on linear while alts go off log sometimes. It's just really, it's the same thing as everything else in trading, right? It's self-fulfilling prophecy. So it depends on how many traders are using each one. I think the majority of traders are using non-log, so they're not using logarithmic. So I would say if you're looking for the strongest reactions, they're probably going to be non-log. But if you're looking at log, you will still sometimes get those reactions, but I don't think they're going to be as strong because not many traders that I know use log. Log is only good in my mind for trading things that are kind of like penny stocks, where say they used to trade at 5/10ths of a penny or something like that, right? And now they're trading at $1. That could be useful to use log. Or if you're looking at something like Bitcoin and we have like this extremely long price action, let me go to the index. Where is the index? If we go to like the index with like massively different price numbers, right? Like we have it trading at $1, then we have it trading at 60,000. Like this price range is huge. So if you have something that has a massive price range like that, log can be very helpful, because then you can see kind of like what it looked like over the grand scheme of things. You could also try to use like trend lines. Like if you wanted to draw trend lines here, this would make more sense in logarithmic than it would in like auto, like linear, right? Like we can't really draw a trend line here. Like this doesn't help us. But if we draw a trend line like this could actually help us. Invax did well today. Let me see. I don't really pay too much attention to the vaccine companies anymore. The only ones I really watch are Myrna and Pfizer. So Invax looks good, but the problem is you're running into a major resistance level here on this pivot. If you can break above this pivot, there's really nothing in your way. You can go straight up. But the pivot around 270 is pretty strong. No problem, Rusty. Funny, man, if you guys go back to my stream on August 19th or August 8th, like somewhere around this low on IWM, we talked about how this could turn into a beautiful bulldog because it had a perfect base forming. You had the perfect bottom there, the perfect curved back. It was putting in the second bottom. And now look at where we are now. We have a beautiful breakout creating the neck of the bulldog, right? So we have the legs, we have the back, we have the neck. Now we're just waiting to see if it puts in the head. So if this pulls back down to like 222, this could be a beautiful bulldog, and we could see a massive breakout into like 232, 240, somewhere around there. So definitely keep an eye on that. It lines up perfectly with the OTS trail, all of the monthly VWAPs from the previous range, and the pivot. As long as we stay above this little area here, you could go straight up, basically. What do I think about Riot? Let me see. Looks like it's finding major resistance around this top here. Around, what is that, $40? Failing a pivot at 38. You do have a lot of support here around 31 to 30. So you have the monthly VWAPs and you have the 200 EMA. So if you can hold above the 200, this could just be a support test Problem is you got a little bit of a gap right here. Could come back down to this little gap at 29. But yeah, it looks a little weak. Looks like it's kind of rolling over. So until you kind of break this lower high structure, it doesn't look too good. Riot is also heavily determined by Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin does bad, Riot does bad. How's GBTC doing with this nuke? It nuked down to 35, already back to 38, not too bad. SPY's getting a little weak here. You can see it's failing. This is the 200. You can see it's failing the 200, putting a lower high too. You just lost this pivot from last week as well. I think that was today. No, that was this morning. So we lost the pivot from the morning session. PayPal looks pretty good breaking out today, but it really has to get above this monthly VWAP. So closing right where it is a little scary because you're closing right below major resistance. Long term, I still think this looks really good though. You can see all the buy the dip signals on the weekly. Buy the dips here, 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 and here. They all played out beautifully. So we should see a nice little boost here on the buy the dip because all the last ones, see how the buy the dips came in, made a new high. Buy the dips, these didn't make a new high here, but they made a new high here, right? So out of all these buy the dips, they've all made new highs except for this one. Oh, one thing I wanted to go over, I didn't go over yet, is Bitcoin. I told you guys in Discord to watch this level around 50,200 because this was the value area low of this entire distribution here, right? So we have the distribution from the past like the first 6 months of the year, almost. And then we lost that distribution. We started selling off. Now we're coming back to retest that area. So like I always tell you guys, is if it reclaims a value area that we've previously lost, you have a high chance of seeing the other side, right? So if we could break this value area around 50,200 and hold here, like hold above this level for say a week or so, you should easily be able to get 56 and then maybe even 61. We couldn't do that though. We had a nasty sell-off pushing us way below the value area low. So not looking too good, but if you can reclaim that 50,200, stay above it for like a week, very bullish into the highs. Another thing that we can do here. Let me hide all this other stuff, make it a little easier. So we have the volume profile of this distribution here. We can do the same thing for the accumulation, right? So if we start from the liquidation wick, this big one here, and then we go all the way down to like where it started breaking out, probably around here. That'll give us a very nice volume profile of the accumulation. So now we know if we come back to retest that level, our most important levels are right here. So we're kind of stuck in like a no man's land here. We don't have a lot of value in this area. We have a lot of volume, but not a lot of value, right? So there is a little bit of a volume node here that we're kind of hovering inside of. But let's see, if I do this, you can see that most of that volume we're already below. So this big node here, we're already below that. So it's becoming resistance, right? We would have to get back above that level that I mentioned to be pushing above that volume node. And then we run into the bigger node up here, right? So we have to get back above kind of like this area right here. And then this whole node becomes support. So we want to make this support, then we want to make this support, then it's just going straight up, obviously. One key thing here is if we grab the volume profile from the distribution plus the accumulation, so like the entire volume profile, almost of the entire year, which I can probably do here, and it will show you the same exact thing. Let's take the volume profile of the whole year. And this leaves like a very major volume gap around 42,000. Okay. And that's almost exactly where we're bouncing today. Like if I mark this little node here, and then I get rid of this, look at where we're bouncing. We're bouncing just barely above that level. And if you guys go back and watch my volume profile series, what I talk about is when you have these volume gaps, you want them to be areas of rejection, right? So if you're trending up and then you come back down to test a volume gap, this should be rejecting price. So if the gap is below you and it's rejecting price, the price should be bouncing off of it very quickly, right? And that's bullish. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're bouncing very quickly away from that volume gap. So price is still rejecting that area. So until price starts to accept that area, we are bullish here. And then funny enough, same thing way back here, which could have helped you predict the high. Let's actually do it this way. There's another volume gap, right? So if we lost this volume gap, which we were trading below it, right? So we lost it, trading below it. Now we're coming back to retest it. If it's bearish, you would reject that price level, which we did. We rejected it very strongly. So now we're kind of stuck between two major levels. We're stuck between the level around 53,000 and then we're stuck between the level at 42,000. So we have a price gap below us, or sorry, a volume gap, and then we have a volume gap above us. So in this scenario, you'd be like selling the highs, buying the lows from now on until those levels are accepted and broken. Okay. That's exactly what we did this morning. This morning we bought the lows and then we sold it on the move up. So don't be too overly bullish until you reclaim 50,200, then very bullish above 53,000. And then don't be too bearish until you lose like 42,000. And then even then you still have a lot of support around 39, but then you'll probably see 34. So that could give you a nice little move there. But yeah, for now, this little short-term price action is not bad. Like, look at that 30-minute close. Beautiful close. And now you're building a massive node down here. So if we can start to push away from this node and create a nice little support, there's nothing really right here. Like, there's not a lot of resistance right here. This is inefficiency, right? So price pushed too quickly through that level to kind of test that level. So that level really hasn't been tested. So when price starts to push away from this node, these would be very easy target areas. Like this little area around 48, and then that little area around 49.5. Because those areas have not really been tested. They were just liquidated all the way through. So that's something you guys definitely want to keep an eye on. How do you get the anchored VWAP? I believe it's on, yeah, it's on this tool here. It's on the second tool, all the way at the bottom. I'm taking anchored VWAPs from the all-time high and the recent low over the past few months. Nasty sell-off on SPY so far. You're losing this little support node that we had. You can see the Momo on SPY, both the trend and the short term are both very bearish here. Dixie had a pretty decent bounce today, bouncing off the 200 EMA. Still's got a long way to go before it's very bullish, but playing out pretty much perfectly to what we talked about on the weekly and the monthly, where you had that double bottom, kind of creating a bulldog here. So this little chop that we're in on the weekly, this is pretty bullish. You could see a bounce all the way up into like 94, and then get above the 200 EMA, and then we could really push into like 97. That would be pretty detrimental to the equities in Bitcoin market. But as of right now, it doesn't look too bad. This is also something to worry about here on USD JPY. USD JPY getting very bullish for the dollar. So if the dollar continues to gain strength here, could be a little worrying for equities. The fake YouTubers are never streaming when it hits the fan. It's funny how that works, huh? Hey, I made money today. I'm happy. I bought the dip, sold the rip. I'm not going to be too happy if this becomes like the bottom of the entire move, though. I have done that before where I've scalped like the literal bottom, and then it turns into a massive move. If it pulls back one more time to like the 200 EMA, if we can buy the 200 EMA, I'd probably hold on to that more longer term, but the scalp right here was just too much to let run. It was a really nice move. Starting to look pretty bullish, to be honest. Look at the momentum climbing. You have a nice climb in momentum here. You're also gaining most of the node. You're like right on the middle. If you can push a little bit higher, you'll start to gain the node here. I do like that momentum gain, though. You got wrecked today, Tiny? What were you trading, Tiny? Pretty much anybody that was over like 3x leverage got destroyed today. And this is just one of those wake-up calls to a lot of people that they're falling into that bull market hopium, and they just keep increasing their leverage and they keep rolling their gains. They get wrecked on days like today. A very good example is what happened to us in the equities market back in September 2020. This is almost identical. Like this, it's never as bad in equities as it is in Bitcoin. But this is very similar. Like you have that very strong, like slow gain, and then you have one day out of nowhere that just nukes. And that's exactly what happened to us in equities. We were rolling our gains. We just kept taking high leverage trades, and then we had our biggest loss of the year on that big red day. So it happens, man. It definitely happens. They lull you into a sense of security. You think you're safe. You keep adding leverage. You keep getting more bullish, right? And then they rug you. They are very, very good at kind of changing the way they do it. Even though it's very similar every time, they kind of change exactly how they do it so you can't see it coming. You said you were 20x long FTM? Yeah, that's definitely going to burn you. If you guys are just coming in, I know I sound like I'm in a cave. It's because my new office is pretty much empty. I'm gonna have that fixed hopefully by next week. We're gonna get some more furniture in the office, get some shelves and some plants and stuff. If it's not fixed by like next week, like even with furniture, I'm gonna buy some soundproofing stuff to get rid of that echo. So just bear with me for the next few days. Equities are not actually closing too bad. IWM had a really nice morning, then you nuked. But compared to Bitcoin, equities are holding up pretty strong. It's kind of what I was talking about this morning when I was saying VIX was looking pretty green. Like VIX was looking pretty bullish, which is bad for the markets, right? Yeah, I thought about playing music, but you guys have left some pretty good comments, and it's kind of what I was thinking myself about the music thing. A lot of people listen to their own music while they're listening to me in the background. So if I play my own music, it's very hard for people to do that, right? Um, so for the meantime, I'm probably gonna stick to no music because I know, like I said, I think a lot of people listen to me in the background while they're doing other things. They're listening to their own music. They're listening to news or listening to CNBC, whatever, right? So me playing my own music is going to flood that for sure. I'm gonna go back and watch the VOD and see how bad it really sounds. I don't think it's that bad. People in Discord were saying it wasn't that bad. I'm not gonna keep it like this, but it shouldn't be bad to the point where I have to like change what I'm doing. Is the market overall still bullish? If you mean equities, 100% definitely, yeah. Crypto, it's too early to tell, to be honest, because typically after days like this, you could very easily start a very local bear market. Not like a massive bear market, but you could start a very local bear market where you see like a continuous sell-off. So definitely too early to tell. I would wait at least another few days. One of the key things I'm going to be watching for the next few days is the OTS pivot that we're putting in. So let me hide this other stuff. If you look at this orange pivot, it's forming a new pivot, right? The last time we had a pivot was almost the exact all-time high candle. It was one candle late. You had a pivot come in at 63,300. And then typically with the pivots, I tell you guys to wait a few days, right? See how price is going to react to the pivot. So see if price is going to fail the pivot, see if price is going to use it as support and then break. So you want to give it a few days. This one, you put in the pivot and then you nuked it immediately. So this was very obvious that this was going to be a high. So now we want to wait to see if it does the same thing here. Does it put in the pivot and then come back to retest it and then sell off? Does it just continue to sell off? Like we don't know, right? So we want to see how it reacts to this pivot. Hey, what's going on, Kif? You said the drop in Sol hurts you? Let me take a look. The drop in Sol, dude, Sol's not dropping that bad at all. Sol looks really good. Sol is holding up better than I think any coin. I think it's the number one gainer on the day. You should be fine in Sol, dude. It hasn't even lost its trend yet. Look at where it bounced too. Let's go to a lower time frame. It will make this more obvious. Didn't bounce exactly off the trend line there, but pretty damn close. Oh, I'd be watching the pivot here on the 4 hour. You already retested it in the last candle around 187. And then obvious number above that would be 200. Just a nice whole number. People are probably going to take profit on. What's going on, Hustle? Native said doesn't sound too bad. It does kind of give me a headache. Like I can hear myself echoing. Like it sounds different for sure. But it shouldn't be bad to the point where like it's unwatchable. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not going to leave it like this. It'll drive me crazy. We'll have it fixed shortly. You shorted Bitcoin and Matic. Oh, if you shorted Bitcoin on that move, you're killing it, right? It's funny, we were talking about it in Discord. Johnny always talks about the 3-minute sells right on Bitcoin and how they're really strong. They can lead to massive moves. And then look at this 3-minute sell here. The 3-minute sell on the bot came in and it gave you a 16% sell off on a 3-minute chart. That's disgusting. And then we had a lot of chop after that. But all right, guys, I got to get going. A lot of stuff to do for the new house. Got to finish up my office and whatnot. I will be posting the summary markets, the weekly watches that we do. I couldn't post it this weekend because I was moving my office. I'm going to have that posted by the end of today. So make sure you guys watch out for that. I don't know what time because I'm going to be busy pretty much the entire day. Whenever I find time that I can do it, I'm going to have it done. So watch out. I'll let you guys know on Twitter when it's coming out. So make sure you guys check that out. But yeah, it should be done. Should be done by the end of today for sure. So if you guys have been waiting to see my weekly watch list, just wait a little bit longer and you guys will have that. If you guys are in Discord, I'm going to be posting analysis right after the stream. So right when I end the stream, I'm going to post some analysis and then we'll be good for the rest of the day. And then I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. But all right, guys, you guys have a good one. You want me to take a look at Clove? All right, I took a look at Clove real quick, and then I got to go. That's a nice daily, dude. You just flipped green on the OTS. That's good. Nice little momentum. Yeah, I like that. If it holds above 950, it doesn't look too bad. Hold above 950, you'll probably get 1250. Get that pivot. Typically, when the pivots are really long like that, they're like magnets, right? So it should suck price into it. But all right, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow morning in Discord. If you guys are not in Discord, I will see you guys 3 p.m. Eastern for our stream. If you guys want to check the Discord out, check the link in the description below. It's actually not there yet, but I'll put it on there at the end of the video. Discord is $1 a day currently, $30 a month for our analysis tier. So check that out. But all right, guys, you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.